Obviously, following on from moves, you have holds, and that's where, as a result of your move, you have one or more actions that will influence the next part of the narrative of the story. So if you're standing in defense of somebody, you may be able to modify the next attack against that person, either direct it to yourself, reduce the damage, or various other things might happen. Say with the Barbarian's Usurper, you prove yourself superior to a person in power, and then you take +1 forward with their followers, underlings, and hangers-on. So we need a way to track these and to keep these, just to be able to know what you have accumulated, what you've used, and when you're going to use it. So what I think we're going to do with that, add a section in the character sheet called holds, and it's a window list, like these other window lists. So we've got a frame, we've got the window list itself, we've got a label, we've got the I add and I edit buttons, and then we have the data within. Now, some of this is evolving as I think about it. I've got to try and convert tabletop mechanics into something that works with a mouse, works tracking it on the character sheet, works interacting with the chat window, and possibly the combat tracker. Now, holds vary massively in what they can do. Some might inflict damage, some reduce damage, some might divert attention from one person to another, some give you a bonus, some give your ally a bonus, some give the attacker, the enemy, some sort of impact. So we've got it's going to be very difficult to try and automate all of those things. So at the very least, we want to track it and give us some way to do it. So what I'm thinking here is we've got these holds. You can add a new hold in here, and you can just add in some text that makes sense to you. I'm thinking that the +1, so you would also then add a value in. So here we've got a value of 1 for +1 versus the Ogre Chieftain's underlings. Right? Then you're standing in defense of Kieran. So while that fight's going on, while you're still defending Kieran, then you may use this hold. Now, what I'm thinking, at least on my first draft, is when you double-click the +1, it will add a +1 to your character, this modifier box, for use with the next roll. If you double-click the ally, it will simply report it to chat that you're doing such and such a move and the ally benefits. And possibly, if you double-click the number itself, it will just say that that move has finished or that hold has finished. And we're going to probably end up with some combination of something very similar to this in our final list. So what does that look like in the Ruleset wizard? Well, of course, we've got a window list. Our class name is holds car sheet, and we're accepting drop classes holds, which we haven't created yet, but we have created holds car sheet. The column width, I've set it to 75. Now this one, unfortunately, is not going to be perfect. You'll see it in a sec. Data source dot. Remember the dot says uses the current parent to store this data in this list. We've got frame window list, which is our graphic here with the black sort of parchmenty look at the top, and then the grey below it. Our frame offset, so the 36 from the top. This means our list doesn't start until 36 pixels down, and it finishes 8 pixels above. I've set a height here of 80, and I've got a width of 550. So this starts with the left of these other moves, finishes with the right of these other moves or columns. Same positioning here. Now, to can grow true, I've realized that the height is the height of, when Fantasy Grounds actually does it, when it displays it, if I've set a minimum height of the window list, it's actually translating it to the window list, excluding my offset padding here, 36 and 8. So if I'm setting this at 80, and I'm thinking it's drawing it from the top here to the bottom here, the 80 is actually drawing from here, or actually a little bit lower here, from here down to here. So I've lowered the minimum height to 50. You still want the minimum height, but I've lowered it to 50. Still got can grow. sorry. And remember, we need an advanced template list text, and we need a name that holds list. So of course, my I add buttons, we've got holds list I add, and the target is holds list, and the same for I edit. We've got the target is holds list, and the name holds list I edit. And then we also want to look at the holds cow sheet. Once again, I copied another one of these that we created earlier. So I copied some of the elements off here. I copied the link, the name, and the I delete button, and then I added these other buttons that make sense to me, and hiding underneath the I delete is the modifier. I'm going to just call it modifier. Just haven't got any other label names in here that no, that's incorrect. Leave that as this. Okay, so holds is the number, and that's hidden by the I delete button. So at some point we'll build in the code to interact with the chat window, to the modifier stack, and to remove entries from the holds list as these things are clicked on. It may turn out that we even replace these with a chat icon, and we just send it to the chat, and then you manually execute what happens next. There's options, and these things will often change as we develop the system, as we test a little bit more in action. Alright, thanks guys. See you again soon.